Live tonight on American Zombie. Like say what's up to everybody. Link pinned to the top of the chat. Brian Nickel, rock and roll. Yeah, man. Rock and roll has been used for many a decade to keep people in control under the disguise of the rebellious spirit. I have to say that there's a lot of rock and roll that I like, but when I start to analyze the songs, I realize it's just basically another form of mind control that the the machine uses on us. Like I was looking up some lyrics of recent stuff because a lot of people aren't really going to know some of the music maybe that I grew up with, but even in those days of the 80s and 90s, the music was extremely brainwashing, very much so. But now there was a song that came out I think over a year ago. I don't listen to rap anymore. I never really was an avid listener, but as the years went on, and I started to see like just how detrimental that music itself can be. And this is nothing against anybody, ethnicity, anything like that. This is the music and what it does. Divine Hazel, good to see you. Always a pleasure. Yeah, it's what the music, what it brings, what it can do. It can open up parts in a person. That song, when I looked it up, I said, let me look up some of the current ones and stuff. I think Bad Bunny is another one that negatively influences a lot of people from reports, in my opinion, that people say that some of his songs influences people to have irresponsible sexual encounters. Um, with Carnival, I couldn't believe some of the lyrics. Again, referencing to drugs and and prostitution and the degradation of women as usual, which is what's on a lot of it. Um, Music can be so empowering, and the fact that it can be empowering shows the power of music, and that power can be used both ways. So, like, look at the rates of death metal, I think it is. So, death metal and types of heavy metal can cause uh, a higher rate of self deletion, about 20%. Rap, you have like I think it's a 51% homicide rate between artists. I mean, I don't hear country western singers trying to off each other or even rock stars. Definitely not classical musicians. That guy, what's up? MAGA was fumating, knowing when they found out Bad Bunny was going to perform at the Super Bowl. That is hilarious, man. Good to see you, man. Yeah, it's so yeah, music can definitely heal the body, mind, and spirit. There is, and in that, right, the importance in knowing that, right, is that we have to be protected and be aware that it can do the opposite. It can be used, which is we've seen it's been used as a rap. They're starting to say now 35 years later, guys are coming out after half or the majority of people have been jailed, imprisoned, ended, have an attitude. I've noticed that with the rock star music too. Like it creates a kind of a degenerate type of stereotype uh, within the listener. We saw this. When I was a teenager, I remember listening to a variety because when I grew up, rap was like a drug, man. It just came out, and we were like really, really young, and Rapper's Delight with the cans, every little thing on music. The power of music is just on another level. The tinkering with the cans at the beginning of Rapper's Delight, it was like a drug. It was like a drug. Playing with the turntables, scratching the records instead of learning how a turntable works, instead of producing equipment to for music production. No, no. You have these people, and this is where I say the epidemic of stupidity is real, and the laws of stupidity as well. Something that needs to be taught in schools, but schools, honestly, it's like they thrive off the epidemic of stupidity. How do you expect to get kids to sign up for college courses that they're never going to use in life? Nothing wrong with going to further your education as long as it's education that can be applicable in the real world. Like, what's that thing they say people go to college for? Underwater basket weaving. It's like, where are you going to get a job for that? What's the sense of that? And we see how it extends the sense of childhood within a person's mind. Brother Ali, good to see you, bro. Always, man. This power of music that we see has been controlling generations for decades. The fact that we see so many cover songs, it makes me wonder the power of these tunes on how they can influence a person to do certain actions, to live out certain irresponsible, I wouldn't even call them fantasies, I would say irresponsible programs that have been programming into them. Look at Lady Gaga's song within the last decade and a half. The Bad Romance, I think, where she wants the person's uh, infections, basically, it sounded like in the song, in my opinion. If anybody looks up the lyrics, I mean, it's not really the best um, lyrics in there to poker face and all of that stuff. And she was like, you already see, they make them the big uh, the big they make them the star. The fact that you can see them push anybody into starhood, you see it's a machine. It's a machine. Some people, they might say, oh, yeah, he's a good actor. She's a good actor, whatever. Actress is what it used to be called a long time ago. But Hollywood has always been kind of odd. The music industry, it overshadows Hollywood. The music is just powerful. It's so powerful that, of course, music songs can sell a movie. So when we look at the power of the entertainment monster or the machine, we see that music is up there. A tune, you can be thinking of a tune all day long. You might not think of a movie all day long. You might think of a tune that you saw in a movie. Music, the power of music is extremely, extremely yeah, it's extremely it's effective, I would say. But now the way we want it to be effective, that's the next thing. Yeah, the saddest part, when you see children get exposed to this music, yeah, it is really, really sad. That is, and especially, see, rap did what rock couldn't accomplish. Rap crossed over barriers. Rock couldn't really cross too far into certain cultures. And parents could kind of see it. Like, people thought it was just over concerned Christian American parents when Elvis Presley came out and they tried to protest him a little and stuff. But when we look at it, he was like in a state of mind control. There was a lot of people that could attest to this from behind the scenes, to see the way he would be pulled around like a puppy on a leash, like all musicians. You want the spotlight? Well, this is what you're going to have to do. I think it was Jim Morrison. He said, whoever controls the media controls the mind. I mean, he saw the power of the media back then. And that was Morrison, who knows if they ended him. A lot of people said he was a plant because his father was like in military or enforcement or something like that. And what Morrison did, and Hendrix and Joplin, and going into the latter part after them with Zeppelin and stuff, they programmed people for decades upon decades. And what were the songs really about? I mean, what did we really get from them? Is it that much of a distraction? Well, with this song that came out about a year ago, that Carnival song, I mean, it's kind of the lyrics are kind of it's kind of horrible in my opinion. It just very very non-caring again, that the rap with the mechanical voice, the digital voice mixed in. I look at it and I say to myself, how could people look at this as anything else but a type of electronic musical programming? A person is listening to that, and these tunes, as we see with the older music, the tunes can affect you. Those tones, those bells, every little thing. This is why rap was so effective, because you had these sounds that were cut in from other records. It was genius in a way if you want to get somebody hooked to listening. Sort of like when you walked by a video arcade and you would hear all the sounds and the flashing lights and stuff like that. It just Guy 97. I remember songs from before I was school age. I don't know who Guy 97 is. I remember a group called Guy. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this, when I think about it, with the songs and how they've been used to program people, like Lady Gaga had a big following. I mean, people, they were on that train, that bandwagon for a while. And then now we see with the last few years, the country. So rap broke into where rock couldn't break into, and it's been banging on the country western door. The fact that Billy Ray Cyrus, I mean, I don't know what the deal is with him and his daughter, Miley. The way he, it seems as if he just threw it all like, hey, you know what? Just let go of the reins. And then the song he made with Lil Nas X. What's the deal with that? I mean, didn't he just pose like he was pregnant or something? And I mean, this is like the influence, because we see already how people just will follow these people. Like all guard will be dropped. Like in dating and relationships, it really tells you a lot about a person, that if they will just go sleep with a celebrity like that, it tells you the worth of someone right there. It's like, wow, you would throw yourself away to this person that doesn't care about you. And a person that would want to care about you, you would make them jump through hoops of fire. You know, that says a lot too. And one guy made a good point. He said, when women do that, and even men, they kind of they overstimulate themselves. They're never going to reach that plateau again. And we see like guys that get into music. Say Rick James said he got into it for the women, even though we know he was, he was walking on both sides of the fence, from what some people accounts say it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember too many positive pop songs. If you have any names of positive pop songs, which I'm sure there are, please type them in the chat, because I don't remember. I remember as a kid, pop music, I was real young, and that song kind of got on your nerves after a while. With the girls singing Shooby Dooby Doo-Wop, everybody talk about pop music. Kind of, yeah. And there's a song from this rapper in India who said the N-word multiple times, and black people in the US got offended, even though this India dude was darker than a lot of them. Yeah, you know what it is too? In America, you're going to have a lot of a double standard with that. Everybody knows that I've always kept that that line to say, look, we just, people can say it on their streams, but I don't want a stream to come to that. And there are Indians that are extremely darker than the average Black American, because Black Americans, a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but the majority of Black Americans are mixed. They're not fully Black. They're mixed with people from England, from Spain, from Germany, from, little bits, Ireland. There's a lot of that too, if you look through the Caribbean. But again, to say that somebody, and I noticed that about the N-word with this, it's as if it's so sad, because one, the whoever the Indian rapper is, it's like, why would you want to say it? You don't want to. Now we're already seeing the mental disease take foot in the mind when somebody wants to constantly say the N word. So we know that when the crews of the people that say that to each other, it's kind of like if you have a crew of women that would call each other the B word or the H word. It's kind of self degrading. It's very degrading to hear that. It's like, how would you really have respect for a person like that when you see that they don't have respect for themselves? And this is the whole thing. Instead of people saying, and this is the thing, that guy, instead of people saying, black people in the US saying, look, we don't want to even use this word. No, you see where the mentality, and this is not all black people, of course, because you have some people that this is why I don't like using these generalizations, because not everybody fits in those categories. Like if they say white people, black people, not everybody in that considered group would think the same. And actually they think very differently. And yeah, The Age of Aquarius, that was actually a good song. That's before my time. The Fifth Dimension, yeah, Marilyn McCoo. Yeah, Marilyn McCoo. I remember that was a pretty deep song. It had a fun to it. That, yeah, you're right. I don't know if I would call it pop, but yeah, it definitely, I would say even more than 70%. I would say more. I would say way more. Yeah. And the funny thing is, it kind of goes the other way too. You will find it. Because think about it. If somebody had a black relative, like say that was in their family, say the people that were totally, all their lineages, say from England, right? And back in 1780, somebody had a child with a black person. And then it went on from 1780, where everybody else married people from England, from Scotland. 300 years later, you think you're really going to see that? You're going to see all these people that look like just they're pure English, if there is such a thing. But genetically, somebody's in there. I mean, we see, who do we know in our family? How do we know what was going on 5, 7, 1,200 years ago? Especially the way people are like, they're jumping around with each other like rabbits, Alexis, good to see you, brother. Thoughts on the Beatles? The Beatles, man, that was the new wave of invasion. What they call it? The British invasion over here? The Beatles were an extremely successful brainwashing group. When I look back, people used to love the Beatles. They used to say, oh, they love the Beatles. For me, growing up, they were way before my time. They seemed corny. And of course, they're going to give you Coke and Pepsi, man, Burger King and McDonald's. If you don't like the McDonald's of the Beatles, right, what do you have? Where's Pepsi? If Beatles are the Coke, where's Pepsi? The Rolling Stones. Now, I have to admit, this is where me and Brian will part. I mean, I'm not going to say all their songs I didn't like, but if I had to, if somebody said, look, you have the one or the other, I would say the Rolling Stones. Even though the Rolling Stones were a dirtier, grungier field, which, why would I want to feel that way listening to music? Elvis was semi-clean and stuff, but even his stuff is it's just, you already see the fakeness, the flashiness to it. A lot of his songs were cover songs, Pat Boone and Elvis remade the song Tutti Frutti by Little Richard and sold more records than him, but he was okay because he said, look, it got his foot in the door. Wow, I didn't see the mind there. What's up, bro? I was
What's up?
Forth. Yeah, man. How's everything?
Yeah, I heard you talking about a little bit about, like, if there is even a such thing as pure blood or like pure European. And I have kind of like wanted to go a little bit more on a deeper dive when it comes to that, because I think that is, again, like, I do want to help with before you even was talking about writing a book for Human Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I was working on writing some stuff myself, but I was going more towards the direction of human nature, because, yeah, I think understanding our own nature is good. it's a good thing to understand is our own nature, uh, because there's a lot of things that have been normalized, right? That separates us from, or tries to, uh, what is it called? Rope itself in with the natural. There is a such thing as disorder in nature and balance, right? I was saying that to somebody before, and I think what we consider normal brings a lot of unbalance to natural balanced processes. So, long story short, I do think not even like trying to bring in the whole spiritual aspect because that is kind of a whole nother subject, uh, where you need to have kind of like a different mindset to think about stuff. Genetically, scientifically speaking, uh, we are affected by our environment on a genetic level. So I've said that before. So it's really hard to say it's pure blood, but and then that's when the whole narrative starts going into, well, these guys were animals and they come from this certain, like a chimpanzee or something. That's kind of where they try to go down, right, with the whole evolution thing. But yeah, I don't think there is a such thing as pure blood anything, even if you want to look at it from their own perspective, which is everything has been being mutated this whole time. There's no pure blood anything. It's all mutation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say. I think pure blood isn't a good word for it, but like what that guy and stuff is saying with Conan, yeah, from the show. I don't think the whole thing. Good to see you, Calix, man. Always, bro. The whole thing of pure, like, all right, one thing we know, there's no such thing as pure European or pure African, because those, I mean, when you look at it, those are just areas. Africa is a designated name for a continent that we don't know what it was called, and Europe is a part of Western Asia. Like, if we look at it, a German is very different from an Irishman. You can look at the phenotype. They have a similar range of skin tone, but it can dramatically vary. You have some
Yeah, the
Germans,
genetics, right?
huh?
The genetics.
Oh yeah, the genetics are very different.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying, which is it's all due to the environment. So you could be like so many feet away from each other. I do know in Africa they were talking about like there's certain tribes where there's a tall tribe that lives like 100 feet away from a short tribe, and they're like, look, this is proof that it doesn't matter where you're at because they're in the same location and they have dramatically different heights. I was like, really? You're not taking into consideration that everything's been colonized and literally tribal people have been uh, kind of like, I'm trying to think of that word, where they're like secluded and put into one spot
Yeah, like
and
yeah,
huh?
isolation, like
Yeah, they're
isolated.
like isolated from the world. So literally, that's gonna happen if that's going on, where tribes will be like, uh, what is it called?
Well, tribes
Having to,
mix because if tribes know that if the gene pool gets too stagnant, it weakens. You start to see more problems. So it's
yep,
sort of like,
yep, that's true.
yeah, the people will start to have a diminished immune system because if the mother and father's immune system is similar, it'll overlap. So now
Without,
the child, yeah, it's not going to have a broader range of what it can be immune to. And this is why it's important to have that at the least a little bit of genetic mixing. And it's to strengthen, it's to stop the inbreeding stuff. Like when we look at the DNA test, right? And that guy got a good point here with the Conan thing. I don't think he's 100% Irish because, again, when we look at it, see, this is where, when we all are used to thinking, is that we come in and we say, well, wait a second, what is Irish? What kind of gene are they talking about? Are they talking about people with red hair? Are they talking about people with red hair and freckles? Where it's rare to find somebody that has red hair without freckles. Not saying it doesn't exist, but we do see that. Like if we look for populations, Indians, certain Orientals, we do not see freckles. When we see freckles in those populations, we know it's been mixed in somehow, whether through hundreds or thousands of years ago, but it's not like a marker. And we do see that in certain populations. This is the crazy thing about the word Europe and stuff, is that when you look at that, you see dramatically different people. To say, well, wait a minute, why was this classification even made? And it was made to keep people looking at differences, not similarities. To say, okay, these people all within this place, this magical, this fantasy island of a place that we're going to call Europe, which is basically Western Asia. All these people have a complexion that's different from the people in the middle of the continent, which we do see. They're a little, some are more tan than others. If you go into India, you'll see very dark people. And then if you go more to the east, you're going to start seeing people with a little bit of a different type of melanin. The melanin that causes the little bit of the yellow, the red, and the brown, light brown, but more yellow red hues. And this is why you see Oriental people have a different type of tanning of the skin. When you go to the southern part, you start seeing people get like a golden tan, stuff like that. But it's a little different from the Indians who have a light tan. Theirs is a little more brown. The other ones are a little more reddish, maybe even a tinge of like a yellowish to it. Comes from a different type of melanin, which also causes hair and eyes to be green and red. And we see this in Ireland. So when they say 100%, we have to look and say, well, wait a second, is it a phenotype? Now, phenotype, I can understand. Conan, I think, has red hair, blue eyes. That phenotype, I could see, okay, you come from this phenotype, but that phenotype, Ireland wasn't there, say, 10,000 years ago. But the people that looked that way possibly were. So now to get more scientific, because if we're going to deal with science, we want to get as tight of a classification as we can. Like when they trying to give a description on something, the more you can get on the description, the more accurate it is to what you're trying to describe. And this should stand like very, very like this should be looked into a lot when you go into genetics. This should be used to say, okay, we have two people that have a very similar type of body, blood type, tissue, all of this stuff, regardless of the color that you might see on the epidermis. Everything else is matching. This is why you can see two people with the same blood type that have different melanin amounts on their skin. They're able to do transfusions. Like if you have two people that look the same as far as color and they have different blood types, you can't do that unless one can actually take the other blood type. Like there are universal donors and stuff like that, which again opens the mystery up so deep, so deep. It's like we were saying earlier.
It just makes more questions, right, than answers questions, and then it answers. It makes more questions.
Yeah, and that's when you know you're on the right path. Because if you have more questions than you have answers, now you're on the right path. If you keep coming up with answers, then you got to check yourself to say, am I changing the evidence to fit what I want to believe? Because it's like, take a religious person, a monotheistic, single deity type of person, or even it's a polytheistic, like Hayaz Varun is Hindu, many different gods, right? And anything we say, a person might say, well, that's what Jesus said. That's what Krishna said. That's what this said. They always have an answer. So the cup is full. There's nothing that this person can learn that's new. They're full of it. They're full of themselves. It's like you can't put no new knowledge inside of a cup that's full. The cup has to be emptied. And what is the cup filled with? It's filled with belief. Stuff that you know can't be true. So if somebody finds out something new and they can empty out a little bit of that belief, or it has to be emptied out, because if anything new comes in, there's no room to fit it. And this is how things get overflowed to where people, you can't even begin to talk to them about anything because their cup is full. It's an ancient Oriental saying where, they say you how can you learn? You have to be you have to have the room to be receptive in your mind to think about what somebody else is saying and to say, okay, does this make sense? And if it does, will I change toward it? Most people won't even do that. If they say, "Oh, it messes with my belief," and we see this with evolution a lot. Evolution is like, I mean, that's all they do. They'll just it's lie after lie after lie. When you talk to some people that
Yeah,
are in that cult, yeah.
I want to jump in. I want to say, yeah, I agree. I think have had that on both sides where it's like, um, I will be saying stuff and thinking I know what I'm talking about, and then I come to find out I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Oh, I said a bad word. I don't know what I'm actually talking about. And then I think that happens too sometimes, where like you can know something, right? And then people don't like a know-it-all, so they just it's not good to say too much sometimes, because and then you come off as
Well, it's not a know-it-all. It's not a know-it-all. It's really like they don't want to know. So,
yeah.
like, if you're saying
There's different
something,
perspectives. There's,
yeah,
right?
like
Sorry.
no, it's cool. See, when we talk about stuff, we should be able to talk about anything, and we should be able to say, okay, to keep it very scientific and not on an opinion or a belief, we'll say, okay, this is the evidence, and we're not agreeing with each other. We're agreeing with the evidence. So we say, okay, this was found in 3 feet of dirt. So we have an artifact, a bone, let's say, that was found in 3 feet of dirt. So they documented it. It was found 3 feet deep in Africa, in this part, in this year, on this date. So that's what we know. We know that this was found, or say 3 meters. So that's 9 feet, right? And they say, oh, well, this is part of Lucy, and Lucy is so many million years old, 2-3 million years old. Now, the scientific fact is that it was found in 3 feet of dirt. That's it. When people say, well, it's said to be 3 million years old, that's a story right there. That's where the lie comes in. It's to say, okay, how did you get that date? And when you look into it, now it's just like somebody trying to lie. Because remember this, they're stealing something. They're stealing thoughts from your mind. They're stealing your ability, if you allow them to think critically, to say, wait a second, I'm not just going to believe this as if it was truth. You're telling me that this bone was found in 3 feet of dirt and it's 3 million years old. Well, this is why I have to think, because part of that is true. It was found in dirt that was 3 feet deep. Mr. X, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Always, man. I appreciate it, man. He says, let's go. Yeah, man. Definitely. It's on, bro. That guy says, what do you think of these YouTube supremacists who are being exposed for having Hispanic or Asian wives? They talk about preserving the race when their children are literally half and different. Those guys are always frauds. Any white supremacist, any black supremacist, you already know, fraud. So if we a lot of, we'll look at the vice president. He has I think his wife is Indian, and you already see what, yeah.
But isn't that kind of like a good thing? Kind of. I mean, I know they're still oppressing the whole world, right? But ultimately, in their heart, I think maybe they do love. I mean, they do love they don't hate the other race, because right. I think maybe I mean, I guess because they're willing to have. It could be a part of the integration thing, right? Where they just want to integrate,
No, it's who they can get. Think about it. A guy will, like, and you already know, I wrote books on dating and relationships and stuff like that. These guys, all right, let's look at Trump, for instance. Trump wouldn't have a wife if it wasn't for immigrants. So in other words, he is the epitome of somebody who is rich that can't get a girl from America.
Oh,
The
okay, yeah,
summary.
that makes sense too. I didn't think about it
Right. You see
that
what I'm
way.
saying?
Yeah, I
So when I
forgot that
look at
happens
this,
all
no
the
matter
time.
what he says, no matter what one of his cheerleaders say, any of these guys, I already know. Look at Nick Fuentes, right? No women. Claims to be a 20-something-year-old virgin. Now that's starting to find his stuff on other sites that are not hetero, stuff like that. I've called this stuff out from the beginning. With Tate, I call that out from the beginning. Guys were following him. I said, you didn't see the video that he talks about with the dude and stuff? And when they see it, they're like, oh, and that's when I know, like, okay, like you already know too, you can only say so much. And like what that guy's saying, these guys know it's all a fraud. They know it's a fraud. Women are one thing that I notice will destroy any type of notion when somebody talks about that pseudo race superiority, because a woman is gonna know. She's gonna know innately. So this is a knowing that goes beyond a conscious knowledge, what genes are the best for her to procreate with.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he
definitely.
looks at this guy, whether he's black, white, Indian, Chinese, Latin, mixed, whatever, she's going to be with him no matter what these other guys say. Because you ever notice the
Well,
supremacist?
I
It's
gotta
never,
cut you off real quick. I was just talking to my brother about this. I don't think ultimately I don't think like chicks or women will want to be with the guy, but definitely they are concerned about genetics. I have heard women, and I've told my brother this, which I feel is kind of a sad thing, but it's realistic and it's just how the world works. Is
Mhm,
women care about the genes and passing down a good genes
mhm.
to the next generation. So naturally, I mean, even if they hate the guy, they don't want to be with the guy, they don't like the guy,
They
they
just
will be
want
like,
genes.
I want his babies.
That's
I
it.
want his babies, and yeah, I don't even want the guy. I want to be with you. They want to be with the whole other guy, but they want that
Yeah.
guy's kid. So that's a thing that happens, and it
Well,
sucks when you're
yeah.
in love with the person and they want to do that, and they don't even care about the other person. That is like real kind of confusing.
Well, the more we understand ourselves, the human origins, the how people think, psychology, we start to not blame. We start to say, okay, this is a person that, just like a guy that we see many guys can't control themselves. They let their sexual libido, their lust control themselves. Now, a woman that is going to do that, she is not thinking fully. Like some women, it's to say, look, all right, this is what you were dealt in life. And for a woman, and I've spoken with a lot of women about this, and many like that's why I was able to write so many books easily on relationships and dating, is constantly having a rapport and friendship and speaking with them. When guys don't have female friends, when all it's either they got to have sex with them or they're not, that shows me a lot about the maturity, the lack of maturity in that person, or
Yep.
maybe the
Yep.
fact that, yeah,
I want to add to that.
yeah.
I want to
Mhm.
add to that because I was just thinking about that today, and it was specifically about these relationship bro, whatever they're called, red pill, or I'm not sure what it's called, but dating bro type of thing. I was like, yeah, I think it's dumb when they want to say that, like, oh, you we can't be I can't be friends with chicks, and then they want to be like, I'm all about business, but we can't be friends. Like, I can't be friends with chicks. It's just like, so what do you like? What are you talking about? You say you want to do business, but I was like, this guy sounds kind of a little bit like a pimp. Like he's like, okay, it's his business basically is his pleasure, and what he wants to do is just like, I feel like, pimp out chicks. Like that's ultimately what ends up happening.
And these are
And
guys
yeah, that's
from
it.
what?
I had my thoughts formalized better. I'm not able to say it
Well,
right
these are guys
now,
that you're
but
saying that
okay, I'm
what
done.
travel to other countries, or they do this over here, or I didn't know if you're still there. Um, Kasparov, good
Yeah,
to see
my
you.
mic's cutting in and out.
Yeah. It says Swedish Sami people look Native American. Yeah, man. There's definitely, see, that's the beautiful thing. When we start to study different people from different parts, we start to say, hey, there's a similarity here. And that's something they're afraid for us to see, that there's something similar and different. within all of us, and it's beautiful. That's the thing that they don't want people to see.
Well, they divide
Only
and
the
conquer. That's
vice
what it is.
president. Yeah. Well, it just when we look at it from these type of things, like when that guy, he makes a good point here. We see that these guys don't care. These guys are trying to clap cheeks, and they're saying, "Oh, this girl likes him, or she's going to actually fake the attraction better than other women." I mean, nobody finds that weird that Trump has all wives that weren't born in this country. There's a rumor when you look at all so-called first ladies that it's a little bit of suspicion in there. I mean, if anybody can look at the pictures, there's something very, very odd going on behind the scenes that, of course, some of it, like, there's no sense in talking about it, but other things we just, we already know the limits. Like how you were saying, the guy who, like when guys tell me stuff about their relationships and stuff, honestly, I try to tell them like in a nice way. I don't want to hear it. It's like there's more to life than that. Like, yeah, great. Okay. You want, if you have a relationship, what do I need to know about it for? So you do that on your own time. And when we speak about knowledge and building and going forth and creating something that will be here after, and to understand, to contemplate where we're going too, because even people in their teens and 20s, I mean, you wonder, where is everybody going when they pass? We don't know. Now, shouldn't I take some time to think about that?
And
And
I
also,
want to add too, also, what are we
yeah,
leaving behind? Because we are like the ones in charge of our own destinies, and they want to make it seem like we're not. I mean, ultimately, I think a destiny is a thing that we can't escape. But
well, if we
I
can't escape it, right? Then how do we? Then that means we can't change it, then, right?
well, I think there is a fate. I think fate is a thing too, and
So you're saying we
um,
can or can't? Because
we
I've
can't
thought about
change.
this too. Yeah.
I think we can seal our fate,
Like if we change it, right? I used to think this, right? Like you could say, I'm going to pick up a piece of paper or a pencil from your desk or whatever. And then you say, you know what? I'm going to decide not to pick it up. So look, I just chose not to do something. So I'm the one in charge. But what if that was what you were going to do all along?
Yeah,
So
that's
if
what I
I,
was gonna say. I think your destiny is the thing you decided a long time ago. Like,
or is it decided already, like some people say?
yeah, it's decided by you before you even come to this earth. Your destiny.
Okay, so if it's decided before we come here, then are we just living something out in and thinking that we're doing things, but really we're just living it out the way it's already written? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, destiny. I think their destiny is literally directly related to birth, right? I think I've said this before. Like, we were destined to be born, and we are born. I'm not talking about those who were taken out of the body, out of the mother's bodies, because they say like uh, women's rights, right? So
Well, they're saying
if
destiny here is events that will necessarily happen to a particular person or thing in the future. Now, of course, we know some definitions are not totally accurate. And it also says the hidden power believed to control that will happen in the future, fate. So when I think
fate is
about,
different. Fate is different than destiny, because fate, you can choose. You can seal your own fate. Like, that is the thing in this lifetime. I think fate is something that directly affects us, and our destiny ultimately is going to happen. But fate is like,
okay, I'm gonna
I think
type
there's more
in
than one lifetime.
destiny versus fate. Fate is often seen as predetermined, inevitable events
I
controlled
disagree.
by external forces, right? Like gods or the
Nope,
universe.
I
While
disagree.
destiny, no, I'm just reading off what it's saying. That's
They
all. It
switch
could
it.
be
They
right.
reverse everything. That's what happens.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. No, they
reversed.
definitely be messing stuff up. There's no doubt about that. They're Is it face or destiny? And we're trying to figure out, like, hey, Blue Pill Reich, what's up, brother? Man, I hope your other, I don't know, man. I checked everything. I don't know why your other account doesn't show up. The YouTube, everything is cool with it, man. Your local curry soul one, but good to see you, man. I see. We're trying to see, is it like, what is the difference here, Nazi, between fate and destiny? If you know, is there even? I believe coming to this earth was not a choice, but our circumstances. We did choose when we were spirits, Mr. X said.
Yeah, that's why I said our destiny is the things that were chosen for us before we were even born.
Okay, so that's the destiny. And okay.
This
Now,
fate
why did
is the
it
thing
say
that
here
we
fate?
control in our own lifetime. Like when we're alive,
Fate?
you can do things to seal your fate. You can make
Okay,
certain actions and
well, it's saying here, and this actually is a pretty good way of putting it, but we still got to analyze it because we know how they will twist definitions. It says fate is like being dealt cards, but destiny is how you play them. It's the difference between being subject to circumstances, striving for a chosen path, even if a final end is fated. Okay, so like, okay, maybe now that they said that, maybe fate is knowing that we have to die. So we know that that's our fate. How we going to die might be the destiny, but I'm still not sure about if the how is changeable. What if that's already written? And no matter how much we try to do stuff, that day is going to happen. We know the day is going to come, but then we try to think, okay, well, how much time do I got to have left? And how's it going to happen?
okay, I want to throw into this the whole spiritual part of this thing.
Yeah.
Uh, if we consider like there being a greater power than ourselves, right? And
Uh-huh.
that having a will and a purpose and its own
Yeah.
destiny. Because if we have a destiny, if we can decide our destiny, I would assume it would be able to affect destiny as well, and probably even to a larger degree than we can.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that whatever is gonna happen, kind of, how do I say it? Like if that specific individual, or because ultimately I do think we are all. This is the dumb part I hate about the opposition is they get the truth and they will like drum it over and over again and twist it and do all this stuff to it. So when you hear the truth, it's
Information.
something.
Information is so important. The way you twist it, the way, and the fact that if you can see the way they're twisting it, that's an extremely powerful mental ability. And it seems that you can, like you notice more than the average person.
Yeah, I
Right.
also have short-term memory loss, so I forgot what the heck we were talking about.
All right. Fate says, Blue Pill Reich says, fate equals inevitable, predetermined factors, destiny, your achievable outcomes. Now I'm thinking, okay, yeah, definitely inevitable. So death, that's inevitable. Destiny, your achievable outcomes. Okay.
Yeah,
What,
I can agree to that.
yeah. And now I'm bringing in, okay, we have that. Um, is there something that where it's all predetermined? So the destiny itself, it's like it's saying that destiny, and I don't want to say can change fate because you're not going to change. I doubt very much people are going to change the fact that they have to pass into the next, whatever the next is, whether it's the realm. I think Gaia the Sage had said on another stream in the chat about there should, what if he or she has like a third option? So not thinking that the afterlife is nothing. So you have, okay, it could be nothing at all, or it could be something, but it could be something that I don't know. So whether you know it or not, and it's something that still falls into the one category of something, and then the other category of nothing. And then it makes you wonder, why would it really be nothing? Because now we get into the thing of, do we think that this is all what it just doesn't matter? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and they try to do that to exonerate the crimes that we've seen happen and all throughout history, and to say, look, it's just evolution. It's just no. We have the power, as so it seems, to change things for the better or the worse. Now we do see that clearly with saying, yeah, why would we want to dispose of certain things in ways that are not proper? Because, like we were saying, with all of the waste that they pump off of shores and stuff like that, it has to be done at a certain distance. There's certain parameters to say, okay, look, we need this amount of distance to filter it, because if it comes back through a current, you're going to see waste on the beach. And we've seen that many times. The crazy thing is nobody cares. People are so.
Okay, I want to say something, because I'm a security guard, right? And I was working at a place. I found out they were doing white collar crime, and I was looking up the law to see what I could do to stop that from happening. And basically, the law was saying that I needed to be being directly financially affected by their white collar crimes in order to even file any illegal reports on them or anything. Is what they were telling me, which I was like, that can't be true, because Better Business Bureau, I'm pretty sure, wouldn't like to hear, what they're doing and stuff. But they want to, like, people want to act like you could just do whatever crime you want, and there aren't these things in place. There aren't these. Sorry, go ahead.
They probably switched that meaning, because we know that meanings are being switched all over on the internet. If you don't use different search engines and stuff, and you're right, it's like they can't. That is so false in certain ways. It seems to be false, because it's like reporting a crime, saying, wait a second. But the fact that it's white collar, remember, white collar crime deals with, that's like without, that's like using more of that's like a paper type of crime. So now they're all about changing words and stuff, because if you believe what they write without checking it, that's the only way for them to get caught, is to follow the paper trail and say, okay, where does this come from? Who wrote this? What are they doing? The thing I would say is, where you work at now, like, this is what I see as everybody gets older, hopefully they learn. What's that saying? You either live and learn or die a dope. Now, does it directly affect you? Does it, are you going to get any money from it? Is it going to improve your position? That's things. Can it put you in danger? So those are
definitely
things.
Yeah, I think that's why I felt I could be in danger.
Yeah, I mean, if you know somebody in your company, I mean, who knows? The company probably don't even care, because if it's security company, it's hired just to keep them safe. So they ain't even going to try, if there's something crooked going on, probably, to say anything, because they just want the account to be able to say, okay, we're making money every time you go there as a security guard. They're chopping at least twice the payoff, and they're only giving the person sometimes a third of what the company is actually paying. So they might be paying, $60 an hour for a security guard through the company, and the company's giving the employee $20, if that. And it's messed up. Yeah.
I just want to say I found all of that out because I was trying to rent out an abandoned building, and I found out that they basically own most of the buildings downtown, the abandoned buildings and the properties. And when I was trying to see which businesses I could run in there it was basically none, because it was on a historical preservation site, and they were just trying to get me to run an illegal business there, because they themselves are running more than one illegal business. I brought it up to them, and they basically got me out of that area. Like, I don't work in that place no more.
Wow. I guess doing security, I mean, from what I've heard, one of my friends, he works in in like a gold exchange, like, that also sells jewelry and coins. And that seems like more of a, even though, people could look at it as a target, but usually jewelry stores have, and these gold, I guess, outlets or whatever, or exchanges, have a lot of security. So they're safer. I
Yeah,
don't know. Are
it's
you
weird.
armed or
No,
unarmed?
unarmed. It's weird in Texas because literally, there, I'm a security guard, so I'll be calling the cops like if people are,
Are you?
uh,
How hard would it be for you to become an armed guard? Like, is it like a
and
big thing?
it's not that hard at all, but I would just
Because
be working
wouldn't
in
your
different
pay go up? Like,
locations.
wouldn't you make a lot more money if you had that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe a little bit more. I don't know how
Yeah,
much
because
more.
I have
I
a
don't
friend
mind.
over here. A few of them actually, they were licensed. Um, but yeah, that I would say. I mean, it just sometimes I guess if you're doing a nighttime shift with that, you do get free time. You can, you do have to stay alert, but you might be able to do a lot of research while you're there. I,
Yeah,
if
there's
it's
some
a
good
night,
areas.
yeah,
There's definitely some good areas where you could just you're locked away and secluded from everybody and not have to worry. I'm just
yeah,
saying, I called the cops and they won't even want to come, and I'll be like, hey, there's people breaking in or inside this abandoned building, and they're like, well, is it your property? Are you watching it? Like, if it's not your area, it's not your problem. And I was just like, this is crazy. How does this work? Because I know
wow.
I've seen like people go into abandoned buildings and the cops want to jump up real fast, and I'm just like, is there something in those buildings specifically, or
I
do they
wonder
know
if you
somebody
can,
there, or
I wonder if
because
you can record the cop calls. Like that's legal, I think, to record your call with the police.
as a security guard, we're basically stripped even more of our rights than a
Oh yeah,
normal citizen.
if you were a private calling them, it'd be different if you were a civilian instead of working
Yeah, yeah,
because the company,
because of the
yeah, the
fact
company,
yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they working
Wow,
for
that's
anybody
crazy,
strips your
man.
rights, your human rights, just working for a company in
Yeah,
general.
yeah. It's yeah,
Which
straight
is, how
slave.
does that work? Like
Yeah,
uh,
that is
we're supposed to
so
have the
like
rights,
yeah.
but they don't
That's
apply
the
if we're
problem.
working.
Like the same people that cry over like all of like I mean every law that ever gets passed to me does not get passed in my opinion to what the people have protested or whatever. They just decide whether it's benefits their grip, their control over us. So, and that's the whole thing. If we even try to start to slip away, we already see what people don't want to acknowledge is that the government immediately uses violence on people. We do see that in many countries. We see it. We see it. Look at what just happened to the lady in Minnesota. So people, and there was a black guy that something happened to him. I think they ended him, and it was a guy that wasn't even on duty that it happened to, one of these agents. And it happened, I think, a few days before this lady got ended. Nobody said anything about it. It's the news is so
Yep. Yep.
orchestrated that there's times it'll get you to kind of almost believe it and then be like, man, you got to snap out of it. Like, why am I even listening to these people? What does Minnesota or anything like that have to do with me in going forward into saying, okay, I have my own accomplishments to do and daily life, and to say, okay, how life. And then also when you become very aware of death, you live differently. And it's not to say you have to live afraid or you have to live like a nutcase to where you're jumping around doing some straight Valhalla type of stuff, but it's more of just being aware that, wow, this moment is not going to be here. It's not going to be here in this form. Could be soon, could be a long time. But when I look back at the decades that have passed, it really makes me now, I guess there's something to look back upon. And looking back upon it, I see how precious those moments were now. And then I'm saying, okay, well, if I'm thinking and aware, I realize how precious this moment is and how precious the moments are that are coming towards me, which again, my theory of time, they're coming from somewhere. So it seems like the future is there, at least certain parts of futures ahead of me that are creating the present moment that I'm in right now. And then the past is created every microsecond, every nano millisecond, just every, as the moment, like it really is like flowing, rowing the boat gently down the stream, like in the Life is
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to take off real quick. I will be back in like 20-30 minutes.
Take your time, bro. Always a pleasure. Always.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, man. Always, bro. Nazi says they love to get people riled up during election year. Yeah, man. The election years, bro. It's like that is the zombies, the zombies that just straight spawn every 4 years like locusts. They just spawn. And I was listening to Larkin Rose. I mean, I got to give him credit for his book, The Most Dangerous Superstition, and his channel. He talks about some very realistic stuff where he made a good comparison that the liberals are the right. The right is the left. The left is the right. It's just the same. Like I was saying, it's two different wings in the same asylum. So the right wing of the asylum or the left wing of the asylum, according to me, because I mean this is like it's so it's so nut house show. It's like a nut house show. It's like some Rocky Horror Picture. I mean, it's so crazy when I think about just the whole the political thing, like what Nazi's saying. It's like these people, they get them riled up, and it just now it's I think going more. It's more full time because you're hearing what he's been president for like a year, and he's still relevant. Usually it gets quiet and they do their crookery for the next 3 years, and then the next two, and then the last year is them trying to defend their crookery, or the new puppet gets put in. It could be two different people. I mean, I predicted that maybe they might try to get one of his sons in. I mean, it's so sad. Like, it's such a show. What was it? Years ago, they were considering certain celebrities for president. I mean, it was ridiculous. The fact that you have celebrities that would be in positions of, well, wait a minute, is he qualified to sit this position? This person is an actor. This person, what background does this person have in the real world? Oh, they're not going to be used for that. They're going to be used for their primary skill, acting. So they're going to act like this is real. They're going to act like their position is meant to help the public. Oh, that's the perfect person for the job. That's the perfect person to sit behind the desk, to stand behind the podium, to read from the teleprompter. That's what it is. Larkin Rose was saying something like, he doesn't want the government to have power to go and force people to fund something that they don't want to fund. And whether, the person would say, oh, well, that means because you're on the left or, whatever, they'll try to classify you. I've noticed this with the political zombies and the religious zombies too. They try to classify you, especially the religious evolution zombies. They immediately, oh, you're a creationist. I'm like, well, you're a creationist too, but a creationist that's ignorant to the fact that you're a creationist. You just think existence was created in a different way. I mean, just the basic common sense to understand that and to say, okay, a person who has a PhD will fall into that little psychological verbal trap, somebody could call it, but I call it a conversation to see where the person's at. And you say, wait a minute, you're supposed to be some PhD professor, high IQ or whatever. How would you not know this? How would you not know basic stuff like this? And that's when you start to see that a lot of people in these positions, I'm not saying it's straight Truman Show, but you got some really, it's Twilight Zoning. It's Twilight Zoning. When you go to a store, or when you go to a medical establishment and see people that are there, they could be good people genuinely, but when you see the epidemic of stupidity, I mean, this is dealing with your life now. People have been ended by not malicious, but honest mistakes, just honest stupidity, Just saying, I mean, just some really yeah, malicious stuff happens all the time. But the stupidity, I think, ends more people than anything. I mean, I've seen the training accidents and heard about it even when I was in training. And I'm saying, wait a second, there's people doing mistakes getting ended in training in the military. So imagine the mistakes that's going to happen at war. And that's what has happened. I think the first casualty, let me just check it again just to make sure. First Canadian casualty in Afghanistan. Oh, it knew it. Holy small. Oh my goodness. I didn't even have to type in the whole thing. First Canadian casualties in Afghanistan, right? So 4 soldiers were ended in April, on April 17, 2002, in the Tarnak Farm incident. And the soldiers, all right, so it's saying here, it was friendly fire where the U.S. F-16, what the heck? You think about the first casualties, it's like, oh man, Canada was over there, right? And they were fighting for, I guess, Canada's freedom. How? I don't even know. Make it make sense, right? Make it make sense. Canada's over there in Afghanistan because remember, Canada is like America Light. You got America and America Light. And they're like, come on, you coming with us, right? And then the Americans, it's yo, this is what I'm talking about. Friendly fire. That's a word for an idiot that accidentally, like not maliciously. Let's look at it like it's not malicious because usually it's not. There are some instances where they do off people, but this is like a pure F troop type of. This is some Gomer Pyle type of stuff. It's like, golly, Sarge, I didn't mean to, accidentally doing stuff, ending people. And now they're saying live fire training exercise near Kandahar, mistaking them for enemy combatants. Look at that. So a training exercise is, if they mistook them for enemy combatants, then that means they were trying to ice. They were trying to ice, but they call it a training exercise when they're trying to ice the inhabitants. But the fact that they hit the Canadians, I mean, you got to be the high level of idiot to the stupidity quotient on that person, the SQ. So we're going beyond IQ. Most people don't have an intelligent quotient. The idiot quiz, the IQ, nah, they have an SQ, stupidity quotient. We all do, actually. So the soldiers, Sergeant Mark Daniel, man, this is some brutal stuff. Imagine somebody from Canada, the people from Canada, saying your loved one was a casualty in Afghanistan. And this is where people don't like to think in this direction. They don't like to think in this direction, man. It's like, they're like, well, who did it? Was it at the Afghanistans? Was it those people over there? And they're like, nah, it was the Americans. They, it was friendly. It wasn't murder, even though it was murder or death or whatever you want to call it. But we'll call it friendly fire, not accidental artillery unleashed until it ended your loved one. Just, who knows if it exploded them, if it hit them with, the Gatling type stuff. So it says here that where the U.S. F-16 fighter jet, oh my goodness, bombed their live fire training exercise. So, okay, so wait a second. This is now it gets a little deeper. So these guys seem to have been having an excursion, calling it a training exercise, and the U.S. must have went over and did some Gomer Pyle and bombed them by accident. Sam, Sam Shady says, MD, I know you're not religious, but is love the cure, the hatred, to love your enemy? Um, very hard. Forgiveness. Man, I really think that loving things, loving life, like trying to look for a peaceful answer is always the best way. Sometimes, sometimes that's not always possible. Sometimes, I think planning stuff out really increases the chance of peace and doing it in a loving way. The cycle of hate, one part that does help the cycle, help diminish the cycle of hate, right, is education. I used to never think education was the key because it just sounded corny. It's like they make up these things so you don't want to learn. And I always wanted to learn. So there was times going through like middle school and high school where I was like, you're not learning. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible having to go to school. It was just horrible. The teachers, it was really, you'd be better off not going to school. And something in me told me not to go. And thank goodness I could, back then it was easy to get employment. Once I had to wait till I was 14, waiting to get working papers. And I had a social security card. I mean, I was born in Brooklyn. So it was like, I think about the hatred thing. I mean, they are always using hatred. Their hatred is like, if we think of, okay, why do people hate like that cause, the cause thing that I try to talk about instead of the blame, where we say, okay, what's the cause? Why is this person acting like that? Like, okay, just like with the Afghanistan thing, right? Why somebody might say, oh, those guys firebombed the Canadians by accident, because, they'll just try to leave it as they're incompetent, whatever. But why? Why were they incompetent? Somebody didn't explain something. It was a lack of communication. Communication is extremely important. Extremely. It can start or stop wars. It really can. I mean, and there's other ways to communicate that go beyond verbal communication. And that's something we realize too. Sometimes people don't listen. We've seen this in many of the films. People getting up in somebody's face or trying to do something that goes to a point where verbal language is not working to restrain this person, to keep them out of your personal space. And that's when somebody just got to go all in on them. And we see the world star videos and stuff like that, right? And sometimes that happens, but always we would want a peaceful, the peace is the way. Peace is the way. I'm not saying, if you have to defend yourself, it goes without saying, but really there's always something that where you can minimize it to a point to say, okay. And remember, if you're not doing anything wrong, and this is a tough one too, because we would think, okay, the law should be on your side. And that's another thing too. I remember growing up, just you're nervous because you never know if this person's going to do the right thing. That's where Rose and these other guys have a good point. It's sort of like you're trusting somebody who not only can be more flawed than you, but is usually a crook, has a long, how do they get into politics and in these positions in the first place? It's like a real it's crook city. So that person you're saying is going to do a better job at running the country than one of us. And the only way that people will rather sit there and marinate in that self-pity instead of saying, you know what, well, let me figure out what it takes to run a country, because I'd like to know what this guy isn't doing. Because when you think about it, and we've stumbled upon this in thought, that the president wouldn't have any time to do any type of press interview. You might get a picture here and there. That's it. no standing at a podium to talk to people. That's an actor. That's an actor. And people don't even know how to tell the difference between an actor and somebody who's actually running the show. Like with this thing, The Power of Music. Remember when, well, I don't know if people remember when Clinton and them ran, and they were using the Fleetwood Mac Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow song. I mean, and I remember they were pushing that, man. And his it's like Lark and Rose, man. I give him a lot of credit with that Jones Plantation. It's like you have two guys. I forgot who was running against Clinton. Clinton's opponent. Okay, who was Clinton's opponent? We had, that's weird. Okay. In 92, yeah, it was Bush and Ross Perot. I remember that. I think that's the dude from Texas, Ross Perot, a little the mouse ear guy, I think they were saying. 96, it was Dole. Oh my goodness. And Perot again, trying to crawl out the political trenches, wanting to run again. Yeah, music, man. The fact that they had Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow, and it's a catchy tune, man. Fleetwood Mac. Then when I look into all of them, they're all, every one of them, that's what the catchy tunes are the most dangerous. They're like, hey, 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 look over here. Don't pay attention to what's going on in reality. And remember, you're going to die in 50, 80, or whatever years, in my opinion, of course. This is it's kind of like saying to yourself, like, don't ever forget that. And then sometimes they'll say, well, don't constantly harp on the fact that we all have a limited amount of time on earth. Enjoy it, right? But I think you can enjoy it and also be conscious of that. It makes me appreciate the current moment and everything much more, because of the understanding that it is finite, and people that don't want to know that, regardless if they're straight as an arrow, health nut, whatever, they're in a delusion. They're actually drugging themselves with something other than thinking about that's a part of life that we're headed toward. That's a very important part of life. And music, like, that's another thing too. When I look at the music and I say, music is everywhere, man. They'll play it at the wedding. They play it at the birthday, the funeral. It's everywhere. It's like it accompanies silence. There's such a strong value in silence and importance in silence that I think that's not really it's not acknowledged. People, I think, like, forsake it. I think they actually disrespect it. The sacredness of silence, or at least not having music. When people are just conversing, it's a whole different thing. Like some videos, sometimes they'll have music in the background. I don't even want to listen to it. And then sometimes they'll do stuff to try to get you mentally hooked on it. Like they'll have like a pinging sound, like a ding, ding at a certain interval to get people to get anything to try to brainwash the person, it seems to be, into listening or watching their whole short or something like that. People, it seems like they're using subliminal tactics, and overtly too, with sounds and tones in these videos, sometimes with a little bit of music. It's like, why can't somebody just talk to people without background noise? It's like, what are we afraid we're gonna know more? That sobering reality that whatever we're doing, whatever we're getting into as we're going our daily life could end at any moment. That should be a sobering reality. But it's not a physical drug. It's like a mental drug. It's like a dampening thing. And it's not to say that somebody should think about it and worry. I'm saying that it's a dampening thing just not to think about it. Say, oh, go on with your life. It's like, yeah, but you know, what is this? It's coming into something else that can happen at any time. But what is it? Like purpose of where we're at is extremely important to being. And as a kid, when I look back, it was there a little being able to daydream, but there was always this push, kind of like we see in society. Oh, they're building these things, you know, doing these experiments. To what avail? It's like, what does this have to do? I feel like I'm being pulled along for the ride, kind of like Canada getting pulled along into Afghanistan and getting all friendlied up. That's a crazy thing when I look back at that, and it's just like, holy smokes. It's like Canada, what the first casualties, the first. So they're saying, hey, who is the first people they got off? And the first thing somebody would think, especially as far as the propaganda type of stuff they usually do during wartime activities, to where it's like a campaign to get a population to hate another population, whether the propaganda is true or not. And if it just to find out like, oh yeah, so the first four of their guys, Canadians, and you know, okay, they were ended, but by who? By what? By the U.S. So it wasn't even Afghanistan that offed them. It was the U.S. I mean, that, you know, when you think about it, karma, I mean, if this, that really makes me wonder. And people don't even, I don't think people have had a serious conversation about that. Sam says, MD, do you believe people should have kids in our current world? You know, it's up to them, man. It's up to them. And I think that, again, we don't know. Is stuff really planned out? Is it something that if you're going to have them, you're going to have them? If you're not, you're not? I mean, it really, I think people are going to do what they're going to do. And regardless if they, in the current world, I mean, I'm trying to figure out where we are, what we are, like, what are we in? How did we get here? Okay. What are we? So what are we kind of has a little overlap to how did we get here? Because how do we get here could also be answered with life itself, saying, okay, yeah, life, or even human life, we can take it in chunks and say, okay, human life is this much of the equation. And then before human life, it's like, okay, where did humans develop? They didn't just happen to come into being. And that's the evolutionary program that has been imprinted, not just from school, but it's everywhere. You try to look at a nature program, oh, it evolved this way. The religion of evolution is everywhere. And it is having a subconscious effect on people to think that, you know, the caveman story, that whole caveman story with, you know, it has me wondering, do I need to do the animation and stuff like that to show people like, okay, do you see how somebody can take pictures of different bones? Like you could take a picture of different primates, say like a monkey, right? A small monkey, a squirrel monkey or something, and then put a monkey that's a little bigger, and then a baboon, right? And then an ape, and then a chimpanzee, and then a gorilla, and then any little different ones in between. You could line that up, which exists today, and somebody could say, you see, right? Say they had the skeletons, so you're not seeing as if they're alive today. And you say these all progressed into one another, and then it became the gorilla. Now, at first, the average person will look at that and say, wow, yeah, that makes sense, because the average person is Patrick from SpongeBob, basically. And then the smart people are like SpongeBob. So even then, it's over. It's like it never began or something. straight. You look at that like, oh my goodness. So a few of us, when we're thinking about this, we start to be like, man, yeah, they got people believing in a pure fairy tale. They got people thinking that they know when they don't know. The whole evolution story is really is really mentally, to me, in my opinion, damaging to people, because now people, one, it kind of like loosens any type of it loosens any type of what's the word, like tightness, like a barrier for morality. Like it, yeah, loosens the morality. It like, because morality, I mean, you have to keep some things tight. You can't have like a loose law or a cause. It has to be tight. It has to be strong. It has to be um, it has to be prepared in a way. It has to have an ability to do what it's supposed to do, which is hold certain morals up, to say, yeah, these are things I do, this is things I don't do. Like eat food. Some certain things you eat, certain things you don't eat. So that, somebody might look at it as, oh, it's like, yeah, no, 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 I never ever, there is no eating like a rock. You gonna eat a rock? It's like, how's that gonna benefit you? Matter of fact, it can only hurt you. And so there's some things you say, okay, no, just thinking about things like that, people would say, no, hey, turn on the song. Let's listen to a song that causes the person to go into a sense of mind control. And then that could even turn into a form of worship, which is what we see with these celebrities. The singing and the songs go into a form of worship. Like, look at the Elvis thing. When they would film, not only is it have people going into a form of worship and fanaticism. Remember, the fan, it's a fanatic. So the fanaticism that we see is filmed. And then now they use that to broadcast the spell of these chicks falling over and crying and stuff with Elvis on stage, all staged. That's why it's on stage. It's plain to see. Now, this is back in Elvis, and even before Elvis, Chuck Berry. And Chuck Berry, man, Chuck Berry, there's some sick stuff about Chuck Berry. If you guys ever look up Chuck Berry, man, with the, yeah, oh my goodness, man. The more you know, the more you know. But yeah, he was dancing around with the guitar, and Chuck was, back in the day, that was Jim Crow on steroids. He was one heck of a guitar player, but what is the guitar again? The guitar is an instrument of mental control, and that's hard to see. Wait, what you mean? This is a musical instrument. That's an instrument that produces vibrations and sounds that can manipulate the human nervous system and the mind too. So it can manipulate more than just one system. And then if you add in other musics, now you're hitting all types of stuff. This is why I see now how the power of music is so much more deeper than the Hollywood thing. When the visual is combined with it, yeah, you get it's a powerful combination. But music on the whole is just on another level of mind control. Chuck Berry playing the guitar, moving around, that's another part of the ritual. It's just like, in a way, Elvis, dancing around and stuff. It's like a ritual. Elvis dancing around and jumping around on stage, or even like these rock groups or these disco groups. That's like something that's tribal. It's like tribal stuff, but in a modern way. Watching these people do these rituals as they play these instruments that produce these vibrations that can control other humans. Rip Van Winkle, what's up, bro? He says, my mom always told me I shouldn't listen to that music. I told her she was, yeah, now you know she's right. Yep. You definitely, man, I'm telling you that when I look at it, and that's something, see, this is growth. We have growth here. We're like, look, hey, this is how I know I'm growing because there's something that I used to do that somebody used to tell me that isn't the best thing to do. They used to tell me that about the headphones. I remember in the early 90s, they used to say, oh, the headphones, they can cause problems. And I wouldn't listen. But eventually it was a cheap Walkman. I used to think, oh, the Walkman, was great, whatever. But it got cumbersome. It got to where, I mean, sometimes you'd be jogging with it, it would skip. The cassette didn't do that, but the disc, and to me it was the inconvenience that saved me. I didn't really listen to it much. But when I look at it now, I'm like, yeah, I don't want certain things. That's not healthy to have certain things um in my ear, because and just like I was saying on another stream, that when you're exercising, especially whether it be cardio, moving around a lot, or lifting weights, the blood is required. You're forcing the blood to the other parts of the body because of the stress. Now, if the music is loud or something is directly into your ear, the ear requires blood to as a buffer to protect against loud sounds. So as the person's working out, the music is is producing more of a threat because now the blood is being rushed away from that by the physical exertion. So when exercising, it's very important to have ear protection instead of listening to something. And if you're in a place that has the music playing out loud, you don't want it to be too loud, because if it's too loud, the body is going to send blood to the ear to protect the ear from over loud music without you ever feeling it. Just the way we don't think about breathing, we don't think about circulating our blood through our body, the heartbeat, all of that is automatic. So there, that subconscious, that we have many layers to stuff that run the systems in our body, that our conscious, like the being that we're talking, like if somebody were on a show and I was speaking with them, or answering a question in the chat, that conscious mind is different from the mind that is running the breathing and the heartbeat and the circulation and all of these other things. That it's amazing when you look at it. Like, holy smokes, that alone, I think, was missing from people raising younger generations, because it's very important. It's very important. It's fascinating. Learning is a fascinating journey that I've always loved, but there's many times I've been thrown off the track. Many times. I mean, you already know the zombies, trying to escape them, getting caught in regular zombie traps. We're all part zombie, so it's like cleaning up from something, maybe not drinking coffee for a month, maybe eating a little more healthy, and then boom, buying some chips, binging out, stuff like that. I mean, I've been pretty good. I haven't drank any type of commercial soda in a very long time, but like a little bit of seltzer water mixed with some juice, and I'm trying. But we know that there was a serious, the zombie thing is just waiting. We know it's just waiting. We know that there are a lot of people that going through life, it's like you have to avoid. But some of the people are people that we love, people that we say, you know what, I like, that's why I put in the zombie spectrum, the first category, family, the zombies we love most. And this is just, it's plain and simple. We see our family, our friends, and of course, food. So that's why I put those three. I was like, wow, these are three things. The food, when I try to clear up and eat right, friends and family, or just society on the whole, is like, tries to act like it's not a big thing to be eating unhealthy, when it is extremely, and that's another thing, the lack of emphasis put on that. That's again one of the laws in stupidity. We underestimate the damage that stupid people and stupid decisions in our life can make. It can the consequences of those. We underestimate the damage. The consequences of eating unhealthy stuff is so underestimated because it can cause people. We already see some serious conditions without knowing. Look at the recalls for certain food. And then you say, oh, and that's recalls to where, okay, it's not your fault. But then there's foods that if you eat them, just that is, not needing a recall. It's just the food itself is not the best thing to be eating that could be linked to certain other things and be addictive. I mean, sugar's crazy addictive. What was that study on the Oreo cookies, Oreo being more addictive, right? Let me see if it's still it says that Oreos, there was a claim of it being more addictive than cocaine, but yeah, again, Google might be changing stuff around. Animal versus human, the unpublished abstract of the research. So the rats, they're trying to say, which does not necessarily translate directly to human behavior. So it's like, all right, the rats were cracked out on Oreos, but that doesn't mean humans wouldn't act that way. And then when you look at a child in a supermarket risking a public beating from their parent, that's not the kid acting up or being undisciplined. That's the child exhibiting withdrawal symptoms from the drug that they sell in the supermarket that was allowed to the kid. Or if the kid never had it, the advertising. I mean, anywhere they watch the cartoons, all of this stuff. So the kid is going to the store already half addicted to it mentally without even having it. And we've all experienced that, to where we see something and then we say, you know what, maybe I'm going to check that. But this is a kid. Kids haven't learned to be fake yet. See, as an adult, we know how to fake it. We know how to fake it real good, to where it's like, yeah, we'll act like we don't have an addiction. When the kid is living that out and saying, look, they're screaming in a way because they don't know how to ask for help in that way directly. They're asking for help as them overreacting and not listening in the supermarket in public and saying, no, you're going to get that drug that you got for them before, or the one that they pounded into their head during the commercials, because that's everywhere, the cereal drug. And they're like, no, I want that. And then if the parent usually gets it once or twice, because the parent is already getting hit by the mental programming of the breakfast cereal zombie. And they're like, oh, I mean, the crazy thing is when we have the parents that are so zombie, they continue the breakfast cereal zombification as like a tradition now. Like it almost gets cultural. And we see this. They'll be like, oh, well, they grew up on eating Frosted Flakes or, what was it? Apple Jacks. Apple Jacks was, I have to admit, when I used to eat Apple Jack, when I was an Apple Jack zombie, as a teenager, I mean, Apple Jacks had a formula that was very addictive. I mean, it tasted like it was amazing. It was amazing. But to know that now, to know that I can't eat Apple Jacks, why would I want to eat Apple Jacks? Because part of the drug for Apple Jacks was the milk. The milk that at that point, I didn't care whether or not that milk, what those cows were given to produce that milk. There was no time to care about something like that, to be that conscious back then. So my journey from breakfast cereal zombie into eating a fried egg. So now I'm basically, somebody could say, okay, you're fried egg zombie on bread. The bread drug definitely is there. But the bread drug with the fried egg and butter, sometimes some hummus, that I think is better. I'm pretty sure that's better than the breakfast cereal zombie. One, because of the lack of the sugar. Two, the protein in the egg. I'm thinking it might not be the best, but it's better than breakfast cereal zombie. Yeah, the bread, man. The bread is so drug. The drug bread. Yeah, the bread drug. I am addicted to. I am bread zombie for now. Sometimes I'll get off it. Now I'd be chilling on the meat, like the sausage and all of that with the eggs, because we already know it's like one with the bacon is the parasites. That's the thing with that. Drew actually, he was telling me to look up the parasites in the chicken, man. I got to look that up, man. That's kind of scary. Yeah, let me see. Uh chicken meat and brain parasites. I think he was telling me to look up. And chicken can carry parasites. So they're saying it's not the primary source. See, when they say stuff like this, man, not a primary source of human brain parasitic infections in the United States. So saying it's not a primary source, but it is a source of human brain parasite infections in the United States. It says it without saying it in a way. When you read these things, you got to say, okay, what are they trying to say without saying it? What are they trying to say, especially with modern farming? So they're saying that it's not typically. So they said the parasites, the meat-borne, the primary risk, and anybody can look this up on Google or other sources. There's also links, websites about trichinosis and stuff like that, or trichoneliosis. It says the primary risk of meat-borne brain parasites. Man, that word alone is brutal. That word, that phrase, the primary risk, right? From this phrase, meat-borne brain parasites. Oh, just think, it's like, imagine explaining this to an elementary or junior high school or even high school class. High school class, they're already brain parasited out. They're looking to get brain. They ate brain parasites for lunch. This is crazy. This is nuts. Holy smokes. And they're just like, the primary risk from meat-borne brain parasites comes from consuming undercooked pork or wild game. So in other words, they're saying, look, just cook the parasites. If you don't cook the parasites, they're going to live, and now they're going to reproduce in you and do whatever. But so this is why you got to cook your pork good, because you got to make sure those parasites are dead. Because you're not just eating pork, you're eating pork and parasites. That's basically what it's saying here without saying. The primary risk from meat-borne parasites comes from consuming undercooked pork or wild game, not typically chicken. So again, the way they are slickety slick. But that's cool. That's cool. Because I ate some chicken parasites. I guess I must have. That's scary. I don't want to even have to say that, but the egg, who knows? But I'm still gonna the egg is better than the breakfast cereal zombie with the milk. I mean, that stuff definitely, man, the food, man. And they're saying now that oh man, if you're looking through relevant parasites and transmission, oh my goodness, the main parasites that can form cysts in human brain tissue are linked to meat consumption. Oh my goodness. And they're saying it could be in many undercooked meats, but it's saying, okay, look, so if it's undercooked, so you're just saying you got to cook it, so you got to make sure them parasites are cooked. Because is it telling me that all of these meats have parasites? Oh my goodness. That's a whole, this is like, it really has me, because Drew's been a vegan for a while. I mean, I don't know if he's listening, usually he's coming back home at this time. And I mean, there's a point because even with the vegan food, if you eat the processed stuff, it's not really that good. Clean meat is going to be better than vegan process. But then again, the thing is you got to make sure you're getting clean meat. Or like, I mean, I make sure the eggs are organic, and that's another thing too. The non-organic eggs, the stuff that they're feeding the chickens. I mean, this is this right here is so like a Soylent Green movie. It's very Soylent Greenish. Yeah, this is oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah, man. You think about the meat with the stuff in it. You know, they're saying that the pork tapeworm. Oh my goodness. Just hearing that word, like pork tapeworm. It's like, yeah, pork can have tapeworms. So why would I want to eat that? Why would I want to eat that? And I've eaten it. I haven't eaten pork in a very long time, but I've eaten it. I was a pork zombie. I remember being a Chinese my friend used to work at the Chinese store. He was a video gamer with the PlayStation, I remember. And this guy Andy, really cool dude from China. And I used to eat the chopped up the pork. It was the boneless spare ribs. That's what it was. So it was like the red pork. So who knows? Who knows? Because everybody knows about the Chinese place. I mean, I thought it was pork. I thought it was. I think it is. I mean, most likely. And it was made in a way where when it was done right, man, that thing was addictive, man. But now when I look at this and I'm just like, holy smoke. So this is basically eating cooked parasites almost. Because you're ingesting, if it's undercooked, it's saying the microscopic eggs. So you gotta, and this is why it's so important to go to a good meat dealer or a farmer or something like that. That is like, holy smokes. Yeah, the parasites, man, this is brutal, bro. This is brutal. It has me wondering, like, man, what is and this again, this is something that the kids and the junior high and stuff to learn about, to say, look, they're it's so sad to think that kids are getting infected with this stuff probably as young as in elementary school. Because it's real easy to make a mistake, and parents, I mean, yeah, some things that the parents will be letting their kids eat fast food. That's like real scary when you think about it. Yeah, steak and eggs actually might be pretty good. Yeah, yeah, I definitely could see that being better, definitely better than the drug. Once the steak comes from a good place, yeah, and the eggs, of course, it's just sad that we have to go through all of that just to get clean food, to make sure, to even the fact that you even have to ask that, to say, hey, you guys didn't like what did you feed the livestock? And the whole thing is, it's like to say, well, wait a minute, what do you mean, what did I feed the livestock? What the livestock eat? Cows eat grass, but obviously I don't think they feed them that too much. What's up, Azron? Good to see you. Christ of her. Yeah, man. Steak and eggs, man. Yeah, bro. Um, yeah, the chicken and the meat, man. It's crazy, man. This is kind of scary. This is kind of scary. It's talking about, yeah, the wild game, the ground meat. Yeah, ground meat, it just never sounded good. It's like, why are you grinding it up? Why don't we just make it the way it is? Why we got to grind it up? Why do we have to grind it up? That doesn't make sense to me. Why not eat the meat in the strip or the part the way it is? Why grind it up? Grinding up meat, that's like right there is a red flag. a red. It's like, wait a minute, what are you trying to hide, man? What are you trying to hide? And sausage, when you think about that, it's like, I mean, I was a sausage junkie. I remember there was a time, who knows what it is? Knuckles, just ground up stuff, seasoning. The seasoning is what saves it, I guess. And then the preparation, the frying of it. So the frying of certain foods like this is extremely addictive. What's up, Mark? Good to see you, man. The frying of the food. I remember cooking some of these drug foods, man. I mean, I was never really into anything like hard drugs or anything. Just your basic alcohol, cannabis, stuff like that. Like, possibly what the majority of people have experienced. But the drug foods, nothing has compared to some drug foods. Nothing. Because I mean, I don't do any intoxicating drugs except for drug foods. I remember when I would fry the sausage in the oil in the pan, and it was probably a Teflon pan. So you're getting your PFAS, or imagine the level, because now it's like you're not just frying it in some oil, because I didn't know what oil, it was just vegetable oil. Who knows? It had to be sprayed or something. Definitely wasn't organic. So I'm cooking that in a Teflon. And Teflon might been coming off, might not. I don't even, that was so zombie. Those days were so zombie. That was straight Dawn of the Dead. Those days, straight Dawn of the Dead. Cooking sausage and the sausage was just, who knows what that was? Who knows? What was better to me from the sausage, yeah, it is, man. It is. And it's so important too, man, to eat clean food. It's so important. I think even eating less food is better than eating, less clean food than eating even the regular amount of food that isn't clean, because your body has to go through and it's hard. You're right. It's very expensive, man. It's very, I mean, I'll eat eggs sometimes twice a day. I'll just make an egg sandwich, and then I'll make another egg sandwich, because there's not really much. When I think about it, it's like, well, what's there to really eat? I'm just eating to make sure, that I don't feel hungry, which is not really, I mean, it's the normal reason not to eat. But when I think about it, and I'm just like, yeah, man, there's just so much stuff. It's like getting clean food is a priority. It's a priority. And if I don't really look into, that might be, it's a tough one. It's definitely a business that needs to happen. But you look at it, it's like selling something like natural meat, steak, and it costs, like how Christopher is very, this is real. It's expensive, so the cost of it is going to be saying, hey, I got the clean steak, but it's more, versus a 99-cent crap burger. Of course, they're going to buy the 99-cent crap burger, 2 for 99 sometimes. I mean, they're going to, it just shows, like, holy smokes, the business of even running a business to sell clean food is a tough sell. It's a tough sell, but we need it. People want it at a decent price. Is to say, okay, what's the lowest that this could be sold for that's sustainable? And even then, it would probably still be more than the 99-cent burger. But would it sell? Would it sell? You got people that just don't care. The zombies are just, it's everywhere. And then with the music, like the topic, power music, it just shows us that, wow, this most of these people have been zombified by the music, which now opens them up to influence in other parts of the zombie spectrum. A lot of artists, the political stuff comes in, what type of fashion they wear. So now that goes deeper into the media zombie categories. The outlook. So that person's outlook on life, whether they're like eco, environmentalists or something like that. So now the person starts a type of worship on the celebrity, all in addition to the songs that this celebrity was told to make to keep people, of course, in a certain mind frame. And when we look at the songs, we see that. This Carnival song by Kanye and these people, which it just, you look at that and it's like, I'm surprised. Where are the adults to talk about this and say, what is this is a scientific, like psychological, um uh not device, but like it's a recording that is used, that people will buy. They'll buy the recording to brainwash themselves. I used to do it. That's what basically music is. I mean, if it's buying it to help you, it's one thing. We see that most music, it doesn't seem like they're buying it in a way that's positive for the person that's listening to it. Because when we examine the music and what the lyrics are, we say, wait a minute, this is crazy. And then you look at the artists that they push up today, that says a lot too. When you look at the artist and you say, why is it that they try to sell to us people that are very egotistical? When we look at these pop music and rappers and rockers, country musicians, all of that. I mean, a lot of these guys that when we look at their lifestyles, we start to say, this is not the most role modelish type of person. Yeah, I was just looking at the meat thing again. It kind of makes me wonder, man. Yeah, it's like it's really the whole having to search. Yeah, it's like hunting. I remember in the 90s, when I ate a lot of fast food, it was still just, okay, where are we going to go eat? We're going to Taco Bell, McDonald's, KFC. And I look at those now and I'm saying, I mean, what is that? What is that? Imagine. I mean, nobody cares what's in that burger that they're going to consume, which is an extremely important thing. Even having clean stuff from a farm, you still need some form of microscopic quality control to make sure that nothing is, infecting or anything like that. To say, okay, the equipment is clean, is everything, to make sure that that everything is sterile, because we know that a farm is susceptible. Look at the hoof and mouth thing with certain animals, and if it's run organic, that's the better thing. If it's run with pesticides, now you got to take that into account, because that's a big thing that there's not. I would think, I'd have to look it up really to know the ratio of organic farms to non-organic farms. Let's just say in the U.S. In the USA, percentage of organic farms versus non-organic farms. Okay, so in the USA, wow, oh my goodness, this is frightening. In the USA, organic farms make up a small fraction of the total. Less than 1% of US farmland is certified organic, though they generate around 3% of farm receipts, indicating higher value per acre. while organic acreage is low, around 4.9 million acres in 2021. The number of organic farm has fluctuated. This is crazy, man. This is like 1%, less than 1%. So 99% is not organic. Why? No, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yep. The muse. Yep. Yeah. It really, it has, when you think of the word, like, and the word for like amuse, amuse, muse, let me see, definition. So, muse, they're saying, who is the source of inspiration. So be absorbed in thought. So muse maybe as being sick, a creative, an artist, a sick artist, maybe. Trying to see how deep the etymology goes on the muse sick thing you put up there. Yeah, selling, yeah, man. The food, man. Getting clean food. You think about that, it's just like, man. Yeah, this, it says in Greek and Roman mythology, each of 9 goddesses, the daughters of Zeus, who preside over the arts and sciences. Daughter of Zeus and Mnemosyne. Yeah, so that's Muse. And personified force, who is the source of inspiration. Or so muse sick. So like, yeah, the power of music on the whole is, we already see this, it's channeled through the celebrity. It's as if when we look at the celebrities and the fact that some of them are also musicians, so that's the other thing. Like, look at Prince. The fact that he could play a musician, a musical instrument, and many, and also sing is just, I mean, that's another level. You know, that is another level of talent. It makes you wonder, like, wow, the muse and music itself. Like, what was it? The Pied Piper played the music and had the children follow him because they didn't want to pay him. Yeah, the Pied Piper. Let me see. The Pied Piper is so they're saying it's a 13th century German folk tale about a guy that he was a rat catcher in the town of Hamelin. It had infested with rodents, and that he used his magic pipe only for the townsfolk to refuse payment, leading him to lure away the children with the same music, never to be seen again. Also, this is the Brothers Grimm with the Pied Piper. So the thing of the Pied Piper is, again, using music to control someone. Music, and the fact that if he originally talking about the music of getting rid of the rodents, and not only just leading them out, but leading them out into the river where the rats had drowned. And he said he would do that for a fee, but then they betrayed him when he returned for payment and refused it. And in revenge, he played the tune, enchanting the town's children, except for a few who couldn't keep up. So I guess he played the tune up and leading them into a mountain cave from which they vanished. That's creepy, man. The Pied Piper is some creepy stuff. That's like, holy smokes, man. Yeah, the Pied Piper, man. That, wow. They should have paid him. I mean, this is like the real event, historical, suggesting the story isn't purely fictional. Wow. That's pretty deep. That and it's not to say that just the whole folklore of the Pied Pipers, to say that somebody has a flute or a musical instrument that has the ability to drive rats to go end themselves in a river. That's like some powerful stuff right there. And then led away the people's children because they didn't want to pay them. It's like, holy smokes. The Pied Piper could be a tale of ancient technology as far as some type of knowledge of the power of sound over the human mind, or even the animal mind too, because of the rodents using the flute or some type of percussion instrument, I guess that would be called, to do that. Wow, it's amazing. But hey, man, I'd like to thank everyone in the chat, everyone who came on. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow night, Monday night. Take care.